My name is Serhii. I'm an application architect in Spryker, and today I'm going to present a little bit feature that we developed in my team, and it might be useful for you all. So the name is Dynamic Entity API, but you can find some mentions with a different name, Data API, but it doesn't matter. It's do the same thing. So what I'm going to present right now, I'm going to present what actually was the original purpose of this feature, why we developed it. I'm going to show the overview with business value, how to actually use it. I'm going to show it in live demo, and I'm going to share with you our future plans for it. And after that, we can have some questions, and I'm going to try to answer them all. So what we wanted to achieve with this feature, we want to allow to do imports and export in our system with ease. But usually it requires some additional development and development time that cause some prices, delays, etc. And also with the current implementation of importers, usually you still need to adjust things a bit because they are not universal. So you don't have universal solution to import or export data from or to Spryker. That's why we decided to implement something that at least trying to solve those issues. So what we are going to have, and partially already have in Spryker. So we have our partners, Alumio, that works as a middleware. I guess back in the days, Monica presented this part to you. And we also have like Spryker part. The Spryker part is actually what I'm going to present. It's a dynamic entity API or data API that in a nutshell is the way to generate API without any code and expose any database entities as API resources. So what we actually want to achieve, like I said, we are going to achieve cost savings, improve time to market, of course, customer experience, and high flexibility because we are just allowing to do anything you want and import or export any data from Spryker you want. So, like I said, it's a feature that allows you to generate any API resource on the fly, so it doesn't require any development time. So you can expose everything just from the UI on the back office. So this is an example of configuration page. I'm going to present the actual page when we are going to do a demo. But in any case, when you're going to create a resource, you're just going to select a table that is going to be based for your API. So if you want to expose, for example, products, you can just select by product table and going to configure it. But you may ask, I don't want to expose everything from my by product table. I have some data that is just meant for me and my system. What we are going to do with it? It's not a problem. We actually have some additional configuration layer that allows you select what actually be exposed, update name for those fields and for resource, and add some validation on top, and also select what field you are going to use as a primary key, as an ID for the API. So we have a configuration, we have a table name that auto field. It's actual table in our database. So in our example, it's by product. We have a resource name that's actually going to be used as in your URL. It's not going to be used like that. We also have configurable prefix for all resources that you are going to, like, it will be used in order not to mess up with existing APIs. So for example, if you have in the system already like products endpoint, you're not going to be like mess things with it because we are going to have dynamic entity prefix and it's going to be live in its own namespace. And also you can disable and enable those resources on the fly just with a click on this checkbox. With the field that a bit more complex, like I said, we have like we can enable or disable field. So when you disable it, it's not going to be present in the payload or in the response from the API. So for example, if you disable some field, you can maybe send data with it, but it's not going to be processed because we're going to ignore it and filter it in our body. Like I said, you can put whatever name you want for the field. So if you don't want to expose like exact database structure, it just remains fields and whatever you want. You can change the type, but we actually set types from database by default. So you may change the field type, but we're not recommending it. And other things a bit more trickier. So for example, you want that field is going to be used on the creation. Like we are going to get this field, and on the post request, we are going to save it. But for some reason, this field should not be, it should be immutable. In this case, you can unclick editable checkbox. And in this case, this field is not going to be updated afterwards. Or vice versa. You have some fields that need to be auto-generated by some behavior in database, but you want to allow people to edit it. Or like a third case, you can disable all the checks and say that that field is just there. You can just read it and that's it. Also required field, I guess it's safe for itself. You also get it from the database configuration. But for some reason, if you want to try to mess up with some things, you can unclick it. Or vice versa, you can click it if you want to force people to send this field in any request. Also, you have some validation fields, so you can set min-max values if it's integer, min-max length in the string, and scale and precision for float values. So it was like UI is not great. We have plans to improve it, but currently you can do it. So in the future, we have plans to add some additional validation, some custom validation that allows you to write your own validators, but currently in the state that you have for now, you don't have it. And now I'm going to try to present it how it works in the live case scenario. Let me reshare my screen. Yeah. So this is actually the actual stage of our dynamic entity API. We have a bunch of tables delivered out of the box. We use them to import and export products. So all of these tables, all 7 pages of it, we added with installer plugins out of the box, so you can play with it if you install the latest demo shops. Let's check maybe spy products. Let's find spy products. How it looks. Yeah, here's it. So now it's active. I can edit it. Like I showed it previously, all the things are like set by default. And the resource is exposed already. So currently I have no additional code to expose it. And if I go to the Postman, let me try to share my Postman screen. This one. So I have it in Postman. Like I said, there is no code bound to this resource. It's just the configuration in the database that can update on the fly. So I can get a full set of products. I can like use pagination for it, but what I'm going to have, I have a folded like table as it is, and I can fetch data, I can update data. In bulk, I can get record by one ID. So for example, I want the product number. So in my default configuration, sorry, I need to update my token. sorry. Yeah, so then that's product ID. And now I'm going to go to the back office and I'm going to change ID to the SKU. It's in the background. I don't want us to switch between screens. So currently I'm changing identifier to SKU just to have it in the proper way. And for example, now I want to get product not by ID but by SKU. And yeah, I have it by ID. In the same way, I can change names, disable or enable fields. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek on the feature that we're actually trying to put in place. We call it complex endpoints. What does that mean? So currently, as I show you, we are using in the tools cassette is just an API layer on top of the database. You can expose tables, you can update the contracts, but still ends an API on the database. But it's currently in atomic way, so you can expose the table itself without any relations. And we are working on some features that provides you possibility to configure some relations between tables. So you can get not only products with requests, but products with related entities. So for example, I want to get products with product localized attributes. So I have configuration for it. It's not in GUI yet. We have plans for it, but for example, I want us to get it. So I have this include parameter, and I can get product localized attribute with it. So it's also configurable. All the names, all the things are configurable. It can be changed. The configuration of the related resources, we take it from the configurations that I showed you previously. So you can adjust it in the way you want. You can also have multiple layers of includes. You can have if your product localized attributes have additional relation, you can just put it with a dot inside. So you can just provide a chain of includes. But also you can be able to send data with related entities. I'm not going to show you yet because it's in testing. And there is limitation of many-to-many saving because we have on a database as a source of truth. So we are using it and we don't have any understanding of how business logic should be done on many-to-many relations. But there is a way to provide some additional logic to the tables. We have a stack of plugins that allows you to add some post-saving actions that is going to, for example, we have out of the box when you update stock table, some post-save plugin is going to be triggered and it's going to update availability for your system. So yeah, like I said, it's not a big feature, but I hope it's kind of useful. So now I'm going to come back to the presentation. Yeah, what I also missed, documentation, OpenAPI documentation, also generated for all resources that you have out of the box. You can actually download it from the configuration page. We have a link for it. It's actually the full backend API configuration, but we are going to also fix it in the future and filter only by dynamic entities. So yeah, documentation is also there. What we have in the future, we want to improve controls validation. Like I said, we want to add some custom validations on top. We also want to have this feature with complex endpoints fully released to make it possible not only have API over only atomic tables, but with full entities. Actually, this one release API is already there. We have an additional way to provide authorization. So currently, like you've seen my demo when I forgot to put token. We are using the simple tokens they can get for any backend API application. You are going to use it, but also you have a new functionality in our system that calls API keys. You can generate API key in the same way, actually, like you generate token in the GitHub. So you can generate it and use it with dynamic entity API, for example, for machine-to-machine integrations. What else? Also, we are going to provide some performance mirroring because we are forced to save entities one by one because we are using Prokl for it in order to have all events and publish and sync afterwards, and also provide IDs with answer if it needed. Also, out of the box, we have only create, read, and update functionality. Deletion is not there yet. We are going to provide it because in the future, because it's a bit complex feature, because we need to not also to allow to delete any entities that customers want, but also provide some soft delete functionality and maybe disallow to delete something that is crucial. Also, we are going to implement some more performant features that are going to allow you to save stuff in the queue in the background, and even allow you to write your own custom writers if you're not pleased with what we have for auto-generated. So it's a bit step back from what I said earlier, that you don't have any like development efforts. But if you want to add some additional development efforts in it, you are going to be able to. And we're also going to have UI improvements. Like I said, we're going to add configuration for relations, fixes like not a pleasant view of validation, and maybe provide some useful tips for not technical users. And we want to make it cool and shiny. So I guess I actually cut some time in my presentation. So maybe you have some questions